Welcome back to Empowered by Iron. I'm Dr. Kristin Lander. I am a certified sports nutritionist and a doctor of chiropractic. I am also a power lifter, and this is my co-host, Mary Morton.
Hello, my name is Mary. I have my PhD in biological sciences. I am also a certified sports nutritionist through the CISSN, and together we are Empowered by Iron and Female Strength Academy.
How's it going, Mary?
It's going good. You know, I got into a few internet fights the other day and things are going good. I think we'll talk about this in a later episode, but you know, in terms of intuitive eating, like I help with women with intuitive eating, people seem to think that intuitive eaters think that it's superior, and it's not. It's just intuitive eating is going to work for certain people and it's not going to work for other people, and that's just how it is.
I think people that don't know about intuitive eating also think that it's like a lazy person's way of eating.
Yeah.
And that they can just like eat however they want and slap a label on it and it's cool.
Yeah, and that's not what it is. But I think
Right.
we will talk about that in the future. Just that's been my week. How's your week?
So, my week's been a week. The start of the year has been a little rough on my body. I'm currently resting a strained transverse abdominis and maybe external oblique. So it's been a little fun, but I'm healing and it's fine. I'll be all right.
You're going to be fine. It's going to be fine.
Everything's going to be fine. By the time you listen to this, I'll be crushing it in the gym.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
I mean, don't worry about the fact I can't roll over in bed right now, but that's okay.
Well, that's not really important. Just as long as you can record podcasts and get back to nutrition clients, that's all that matters.
There we go.
So today, what we're going to be talking about is this idea of starting over in lifting. So it's the new year. Really, this can happen anytime during the year, but it seems to be pretty big in the new year of people, and in our case specifically, women who lift, wanting to get back into lifting.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just like you had a little break because of the holidays, got thrown out of your routine. You're trying to find your new normal again.
Mm-hmm. Or you really had a falling out with lifting and
you and lifting broke up.
And you're just trying to find your way again. So think of this scenario. For whatever reason, you've taken a hiatus from lifting, as we said, whether it's because you've been injured or you've had other life obligations that took priority, or you've simply just lost that fire for lifting. You've taken some time away from the gym and the barbell, but now you're ready to get back into it. That's who we're talking to. So if that's you, buckle in. I think the biggest thing we have to talk about is that this is a lot more common than you think.
Sure.
We have to think about in social media, right? I don't know how many times we've mentioned this. We'll just mention it one more time. It's a highlight reel.
Yep.
So sharing your journey when your journey is not going anywhere in the gym, particularly, like if you're having a rocky relationship with lifting, people aren't really going to post about that. They're just going to do what I did and just kind of sulk in silence for a while, trying to figure it out.
Yeah. I think it's really common just in life in general to lose your passion for something because of who knows why. I mean, there's just a lot of reasons. You just kind of lose that spark and that fire.
Yeah. And that's kind of what happened to me this last year. In 2018 in September-ish, I kind of had this weird hip injury. We still don't really know what it was, but
it was some sort of soft tissue issue.
Soft tissue issue.
Yes.
And that kind of escalated into other things and left me, basically I couldn't squat. And if you do Olympic lifting, everything's a squat. So I couldn't do that. And most of 2019 was me just figuring out what was wrong, what I could do to fix it. But really it took me away from the barbell because everything I would do with the barbell would give me pain. But really, it was until May of 2019 that I finally said, okay, I'm done being in pain. I need to fix whatever it was. And
you had already, by that point, gone to physical therapy and were doing exercises. Like you were trying to fix it before then. And then finally you were just like,
I can't do it anymore.
I can't do this anymore. I can't fix it and lift.
Yeah. And so I was forced to give up Olympic weightlifting, which if you guys have listened to one of our previous episodes forever ago, titled When You Can't Come Back, I spoke about how if I had to give up Olympic weightlifting, I don't like any other form of lifting. Yeah. I would just focus on something else, like my kitten rescue, which is literally exactly what I did. I took the time and I focused on the business, but mostly on this kitten rescue because it was something that fulfilled me and it really made me feel like I was doing something.
Right. And then you wound up with 20 cats in your house.
Well, we won't talk about that. There's a reason that my theme in 2020 is do less better. That starts with cats. So I spent about 6 to 7 months irregularly going to the gym. I wouldn't really follow a program. I was kind of doing whatever I wanted, maybe 2 to 3 times a week. There were periods where I would take 2 weeks off. And, you know, I have to speak, though, into my disordered eating past. That would have never happened. Like 3 or 4 years ago.
You wouldn't have been able to take time off, you mean?
Right.
Okay.
But this time I was just so like, fuck it, and just did whatever I wanted. So I call that kind of a win. Yeah. Even though it was kind of negative the reason I was doing it, but I could take that time off and not totally freak out about it. But I can also see
that's a huge win.
Thank you. I can also see how easy it is to get out of the habit of going to the gym. Mm-hmm. So the issue, though, that started to become a huge deal in my life is that I didn't find another outlet for my mental health. And I would go through these very depressive periods of just, barely getting out of bed, not wanting to do anything, just like I cried more than I could imagine. I'm not a crier, but it was just like all these little things. I had no healthy way to deal with emotions. And so I just didn't deal with them, which was the problem.
Oh yeah, we gotta feel those things.
Yeah,
and deal with them and process them.
And I used the gym to do that, and I didn't realize how much I used the gym to do that until I didn't have the gym or didn't love the gym anymore.
So maybe this goes back to an episode forever ago. Also, that maybe you were using the gym as a avoidance tactic for your feelings and emotions before this. And this kind of made you aware of that.
Oh, for sure. And since then, I've done a lot of growing in the last 6 months. I've definitely figured out how to cope with my emotions better outside of the gym.
Good.
But now I have the gym again to at least kind of help me dampen the feels so they don't come out so massive on the other end, you know?
Sure.
Yeah. So, anyway, recently, just within the past, 2-3 weeks, I've recently really found my groove again. And it started off with training powerlifting, which was crazy for me because I hated powerlifting training. It's just not for me. No matter how many times I lied and said, oh, I think I could do it. It's not for me.
Do not like powerlifting.
No. But it made me realize a few things. Number one, my hip will never, ever be 100%. It's just not going to happen. But I can do a lot of things to keep it at 90 to 95%, and that's fine by me. I don't have pain when I sleep. I can squat for the most part without pain. And if I do have pain while I'm squatting, the biggest lesson I've learned is just stop.
Yeah.
Put everything away and you're done. Like, I'm doing it for fun now. I'm doing it for my own sanity. And if I have pain doing it, I need to stop and do something else.
That is something that has taken me like a decade to learn, by the way.
Yeah, it's hard.
It is. And especially like if you're a competitive lifter, part of the game is like how tough can you be mentally?
Yeah.
And so you have to push through stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying like injure yourself, but like for me specifically, I will push through serious injuries because I'm very mentally tough. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like that pain I feel allows me to think like, I'm really mentally strong. It took me years to figure out how to ride that line. I'm still learning. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
But I'm very proud because also this year I have been doing a much better job. Like I feel something weird in training and I'm like, I'm going to stop.
You really have. And it doesn't make you less of an athlete because you didn't push through. I look back at that week that really my hip went bad in 2018, and there were 3 days before it went really bad. Mm-hmm. I just thought something's weird. Something's off. Like something is feeling painful, but it wasn't like debilitating at that point. Had I stopped those days
Yeah.
and actually went and seek treatment, I probably would have saved my hip.
Yeah, because I remember when you finally told me about it and I said, well, how long has this been going on for? And it was like a couple of months by the time you told me. And I was like, you have been squatting in this much pain for a couple of months? Like, okay, now we have a problem.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of things. Like, one, I couldn't imagine my life without doing it. So I was like, well, I guess this is my norm now. And I was trying to find that norm, and it's not normal to be in pain like that.
Well, and I think every athlete is going to go through something like this in their life. Like,
absolutely.
A big part of this podcast is us sharing with you guys the mistakes we've made and trying to warn you before you make them yourself.
Yeah. And regardless of your level of athleticism, whether you're elite or, very novice like me, you're going to go through these things. And it's learning how to be self-aware enough to stop when you need to stop and push when you're just sore or tired or whatever.
Right.
But obviously, now that I'm back in the gym, there's no way I can lift anywhere near my old maxes. I think right before I really hurt myself, I was killing it. And everything was perfectly lined up.
Yep.
And I was lifting the most I'd ever lifted in my entire life. And when I first started getting back into lifting, it was really disheartening because I thought I could just... listen, logically, I knew this wasn't the case, but in my heart, I wanted to believe I could hit those maxes again.
Oh, yeah.
And it just caused me to get hurt again because I pushed myself way too far, way too far. Like something I could do easily for 4 or 6 reps. There's no way I could even do it for 1 rep right now. And that sucked at first. But we'll talk about how to kind of get over that here in a minute. But obviously... in the first getting back into these things, I was very frustrated with how my lifts were. They used to be so easy, and I felt like they really still should be. Like I was naturally strong at these things, and now I'm not. But I was really unaware at how truly deconditioned I had become, and my muscles were just not used to what I was making them do. Like, sure, I used to be able to do a 5x8 squat session after snatching, and that wasn't a problem. But now it's a huge problem. I have to really be careful about how much I squat. Yeah. Otherwise, it's going to hurt my hip. And it's a weird adjustment to make. Yeah, you can't just... So if you're used to doing like your snatch programming, which you might do anywhere from 10 to 30 snatches in a snatch session, and then do a 5x8 squat after, you have to go back. You wouldn't ever put a beginner on that program. Their bodies would break down way too fast. And so you kind of have to like go back, and you can't, it's really hard because once you get to a certain level, that's where your mind stays. You think you're still there. And when you go back and start, you're like, oh, I have to do more of what a beginner would do because my body's not used to this kind of stress on it. Yeah. And it's hard. It's mentally super hard. I've been there. So hard. And, the last maybe 8-ish weeks, maybe 12 weeks, I worked with an exceptional coach who really helped me and was really patient with me. Her name is Jillian Lewis. She's with Bama Brick Squad. But she really helped me, and when I was being stupid, she would rewrite the program for me. But it wasn't until after I got off the programming, because I realized I didn't love the type of programming that she was really good at writing. And that's a personal thing for me, and that's not a hit on her. I would recommend her to literally anyone who's looking to get into fitness. I thought that she was a phenomenal coach in terms of remote coaching. But for me personally, any type of powerlifting, style lifting, I was like, why am I here? Well, it was kind of a mix of powerlifting and bodybuilding, right? Yeah, two things I really hate. Right. Which that's like when you told me what you were doing, I was like, okay, like... yeah, go for it. And then you're like, I don't really like this. I was like, yeah, I was worried about that. But to be fair, I thought having a coach would make me more consistent. And that did help, having someone that I needed to get back to. But I still found myself like, oh, I need to go to the gym today. I don't want to go to the gym today because I just didn't look forward to it. You weren't in love with what you were doing. Yeah. And so not a knock on her coaching. She was awesome. It's my fault. I was an idiot. So, you weren't an idiot. You were just trying. That's how you learn is you try things. You try things out. And if they don't work out, then you're like, well, okay, we'll like
slash that one off the list. Don't want to do that. But I think that's one of the best ways to like either figure out who you are or what you like or what you want to do. Half the battle is learning what you don't want to do.
Yeah, no, that's true. Okay. Not an idiot, just trying things.
That's right.
So
You're learning.
I'm learning. Something I wish I didn't have to learn, but here we are. But it made me realize that there's a few tips / caveats that I would recommend to women wanting to get back to the barbell, because I had a lot of women reach out to me saying how thankful they were that I was talking about it, because like I said, not many people talk about it.
Yeah.
And when you've lost that fire, you feel very alone because everyone around you just seems to be in love with what they're doing. And you don't want to be that person who's like, ugh, Kristin, I hate lifting. And Kristin's loving her powerlifting program. You don't want to be that person that's like bringing down the energy in the gym. So you end up kind of isolating yourself. And we know that's not healthy. We know we shouldn't do that, but we end up doing it anyway. But when I started getting back into it, here are the things that I would recommend or give a tip to you who is listening. Number one, you're still going to be strong. I think you're going to be surprised at how strong you still are, but you're still going to have lost a lot more strength than you realize. So when you're getting back into lifting, consider what you were doing when you weren't consistently lifting. So when you were taking your break, what did your day look like? Were you a complete couch potato and you did literally nothing? Or were you closer to what I did with some lifting, but you were somewhat inconsistent about it? Depending on where you land on that couch potato to something scale, your experience coming back is going to be a little different. If you were a couch potato, which no shame, same, I had weeks of couch potato, you're going to be able to do way less than you think, but that's okay. You might need to use like 60% to 70% of your old 1 rep max as your new max if you're going to do percentage based work. And that's fine. Like, don't let that get to you. It is what it is. You are where you're at and you don't want to get injured. Take it and build from there. If you've been doing some lifting, but you've been somewhat inconsistent, you might be able to get up to 80 to 85% of your 1 rep max, but please don't try to max out immediately. Like, don't go into the gym on your first day and be like, well, I wonder where I'm at, and just start 1 rep maxing. Don't do that. Just assume that's what your 1 rep max is and start at max, like 60%.
Yeah, because you need to retrain your central nervous system. Remember we talked about that in the CNS episode.
Yes.
Is that one of the ways that women build strength the most is through training their central nervous system. So if you have not been firing your muscles in that particular way, and that many muscle fibers at a time, if you go try to max out, even if you realize like, hey, it's going to be a lot less, but I can totally see the rationale behind saying,
oh yeah,
I do percentage-based training and I need to know what my max is. So I'm going to go max out and just see where I'm at. Even if you're totally willing to accept that it's like maybe 60%, it's still a really bad idea. You need to get your body back into understand your central nervous system firing the way it needs to be firing in order to actually perform a max lift.
Absolutely. And it's the surefire way to injure yourself if you're going to go in and one max rep. I did it. I hurt myself and I regretted it. And this is what it is. Don't do what I did. The second tip / caveat is you need to start slow. Whatever the reason you took a hiatus from lifting is, especially if it's because you lost interest or you lost your fire for it, you're going to need to ease back into it, right? For your mind's sake and your body's sake. So we can't go I think this is why a lot of people who have New Year's resolutions to get to the gym and they're like, I'm going to go 7 days a week. That's a little unattainable. I mean, even we don't go 7 days a week.
Yeah, it's you can't continue that forever. You're going to get burned out.
Yeah, and so starting, you want to start slow.
Right.
Pick 2 or 3 days a week and consistently do that for a couple weeks, and then increase if you're feeling it. Right. And don't jump right back into an advanced program. I get it. You might be able to get back in and take a couple weeks of doing some lighter programming and then jump back into an advanced program, depending on how your body responds. That's fine. But don't day one, like hop back on and expect your body to perform the way that it was. And write down exercises that you love to do and do them. I think the best way to rebuild this habit is not to make it some big negative energy thing where like, I have to go to the gym and I have to do these things that I hate. Again, this is probably why a lot of New Year's resolutioners fail, is because they go to the gym and they do something that they see as horrible. I mean, it sucks. Like, you've seen trainers. I don't know for the life of me, sidebar, why trainers do this on their first day. They have someone who's obviously never worked out, obviously is trying to do something good, and they kill them the first day. And then the person never comes back.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're not going to come back. That was the most negative experience they could have had. What you should have done is walked on the treadmill, maybe done a few bicep curls so they feel a little sore, and leave.
Yes.
And they would have had a great experience.
Absolutely. Eric and I talk about that all the time. Like, don't start out killing yourself or killing your clients.
Yeah, go slow. So pick something you love and do those things, even if it's 2 things, and leave. That's it.
For sure.
The third thing, and you might hate me for saying this, but just bear with me, is to get your body moving. When you've just been sitting around, your body doesn't get that wave of adrenaline and endorphins going. So the best way to get yourself more motivated to get back to the gym is to get a little sweat going. Oh my God, do some cardio. But
it gets your endorphins going though.
Yeah. And so I'm not talking about like go run a marathon. What I would do is I'd go walk for 30 minutes and I'd bring my book, or I would watch Disney Plus because I'm a child, and I would love it. And it would be 30 minutes, it'd be over, and I would feel good about it and go back home. Some types of cardio that would be acceptable, it's like I said, is walking or maybe rowing on the row machine. Don't go crazy. Biking is a good one. Sled pulls or pushes or hiking or some light Metcons, circuits, or even a fitness class. Some people really like Zumba.
Our gym has a Zumba class that the music, I'm like,
yeah, it looks like fun.
I kind of want to go over there. I mean, I don't want to go over there because I do not want anyone to ever see me dance. But
absolutely. Same. Not you, but me.
I was like, no, you don't want to see it either.
But just do something that you kind of enjoy, and it's going to get your heart rate going. This doesn't have to be forever, but for the first couple weeks, I think it's really important to get moving.
For sure.
The next thing, and remember, this is kind of a process, is to figure out your nutrition. Yeah. So likely you've fallen off of lifting means you've also fallen off whatever nutrition regimen you have fallen off of. Now, if it was a really restrictive diet and you're trying to get back on a restrictive diet, I think that that's silly. You need to be kind to your body, but you probably need to start figuring out, okay, I need 4 meals a day. I need to at least focus on getting protein and my pre and post training carbs. Get back to prioritizing your nutrition to get strong, and that's going to really help your body bounce back.
I also find that like once I make that jump to dialing in my nutrition again, then that is like everything starts to fall in line after that. Because for me, like I just made an Instagram post about this. Like my habits are what carry me through. Like I am not by nature a disciplined person, but I have literally engineered my life and my daily schedule so that I have all of these habits for success built into it. And when I get out of my routine, which means I'm not lifting, I'm maybe not eating how I normally am, like all of a sudden, all the other habits fall by the wayside too. And so as soon as I start getting my nutrition under control, or even just like drinking enough water again, then it's like, oh yeah, like everything starts to fall in place.
You start to feel better.
Yeah.
And it's like Stacy talks about on her podcast. It's not the motivation you need, it's the momentum. Yeah. So you do the thing and then the thing keeps going.
Well, and it's creating those habits.
Yep. Another thing, and I think this one is really, really important, is just be patient with yourself as you rebuild. You're not going to be back to where you were probably in the first month or 2 months. However long you took off from training is about how long it will take you to get back into it, and you still might not be exactly where you were. Remember, it's a marathon. It is not a sprint. Your body is very vulnerable to an injury right now, and you're at a little more of a dangerous spot than someone who is a true beginner. You know what your body can do, and so you might try to push yourself more than a novice lifter might. This can and will lead to an injury. Your body had built a strong base for the heavy training you were doing, and right now you are rebuilding that base. don't hit yourself with a wrecking ball and not expect to crumble at this point.
Yeah, super good point. Just being patient. I am reading David Goggins' book right now, Can't Hurt Me, which if you guys have not read it, I highly recommend it. He talks about having a cookie jar and taking things from the cookie jar when things get tough. And what that means is that in his mind, he's got this cookie jar full of all of his experiences where he overcame something. Mm-hmm. It could be something really little, or it could be something really big. Like he went through Navy SEAL training. He went through Hell Week 3 times. He passed Hell Week 3 times, which is
a big deal.
Really big deal. And so it could be something as big as like, hey, like when he's trying to do something difficult, he reaches into his cookie jar and pulls out those feelings of like, I survived Hell Week 3 freaking times. Like I can do anything.
Yeah.
And so whenever you're getting back into something and you're feeling like, oh man, this kind of sucks because my body's not like doing what I want it to do and whatever, I think like reaching into your mind and into that cookie jar of those experiences and allowing yourself to feel those emotions of I overcame something.
Oh yeah.
Is really good momentum to get you going, to keep you going, to remind you that you are strong and you can overcome hard things. And even though you've already been at a level that's much higher than what you're at right now, it doesn't mean that you can't get past there or surpass it if you want to. Mm-hmm. You just have to decide if you want to. And if you don't want to, that's okay. Maybe you want to be at a different level of training. Maybe you want to have more life balance and not compete at a high level.
Yeah.
But
it's about finding your balance and reminding yourself that you are strong and capable.
Yes.
Yes. And with that, it wouldn't be fair for us to just tell you this is what we think you should do, but we also have a way for you to do this. If you have been struggling with getting back into the gym, if you want to get back to your heavy lifting, I wrote my program of how I got back into the gym, of how I got back into lifting, and I put it all down into a 4-week program. And what's really awesome about this program and what's really been helping me is it really emphasizes doing the things that you love and not pushing yourself too far too fast. So for example, I said it's a 4-week program, but the first week is basically like kind of do whatever you want. And you can repeat that week as many times as you want until you feel ready to move on to the second week. And the second week obviously is a little bit of a progression. It's a little bit more of a structure, but it still has a little bit of the movement pieces. You can still kind of do the fun things you want. And then you can do week 2 for 6 weeks. Who cares?
So it's a lifting program.
Yeah.
But also there's more to it than just the lifting part, right?
Yeah, it's technically an ebook. There's some feels in there. There's some thoughts and emotions from me. And there's some tips about how to, getting back into lifting and not feeling bad about yourself and where you currently are versus where you were. So it's an all-encompassing thing that has helped me get back into what I love to do, and that's Olympic weightlifting. I've gotten back into it. I'm very patient with myself. I'm understanding what my limits are and really focusing on recovery. And this ebook is going to help you if you are looking to get back into weightlifting or powerlifting or CrossFit or whatever it is. It's a nice transition program from doing nothing to getting back into the thing that you love.
It's like priming your body and your mind to fall back in love with lifting.
Yep. It's called REIGNITE, which is pretty telling, I think. You're reigniting your love for lifting, and it is releasing today. So if you are interested in doing this, we've had a pre-sale going on the last week, so you probably heard about it at this point. But today it is on the website. You can purchase it, and it's going to help you fall back in love with lifting.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Go to the website and buy Mary's ebook, Reignite. I think it's awesome.
Link is in the description below. And I think that's it for this discussion. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your stories. If you purchase the ebook and you go through it, I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to hear how the process was for you. Was it good? Was it bad? Did you get right back into it? Did it take you a little bit longer? I want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. Shoot us an email.
Also, like, if you want to include us in your Instagram posts, we would love to see how it's going. So you can use the hashtag #REIGNITE.
Ooh, yes. Good thinking, Kristin. We would love to hear from you and see what you're doing. And with that, we will talk to you guys next time.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.